Yo, what's good everybody? King Drago Central 17 back at it with another video for the FIFA 2026 World Cup, and that is the end of the round of the 32, not a group of the knockout phase. Yeah, I'm still used to the old group stage where they had 32 teams, so I am a little rusty on that. Big surprises, big shocks, disappointing from all the teams. If you all remember my last video where some surprising teams have made it through to the next round and some of the favorite teams have been eliminated. But anyways, it is time to continue on, and yeah, we'll walk through the round of 16. So let's get on with this. Starting off in the round of 32, we had the most intense for Canada and South Africa. Now, I have to say, I'm proud of how Canada is doing in the World Cup. Even though they've beaten South Africa just by a single goal in the last second, I've got to say, great run from them as they go through. I remember I had a match that day. I had a football match that day, and the refs were looking at the the game. As soon as I heard screaming, that's when you know when there's a goal happening. So this might be the furthest Canada has made at their tournament and in their group stage and the round of 32. So congratulations, Canada. I'm very proud of how the country is doing and how far they've made it. But we'll see what brings them into the next round, which they will now be playing very soon, by tomorrow. Or, in the next morning, I should say, of the afternoon. And now we have the Netherlands and Morocco. Oh, this has been a pretty tough battle here between the Netherlands and Morocco. I remember I was watching the game and I missed the penalties. The penalties is the part where my TV crashed and I wasn't able to finish the rest of the match. I did see the 2 goals though. Netherlands had a pretty good opening goal thanks to Cody Gakpo, who scored, and he dedicated his goal for his unborn child, which is really sad, especially for him and how much this means to him. Gotta give him respect for that, for scoring that goal. As much as it hurts a lot though, after Morocco scored a last-minute goal just for them to secure a spot in extra time to book them. And then it went all the way up to penalties. Unfortunately, with the Netherlands, I expected them to go through, but unfortunately, Morocco ended up being the bigger team. Now, I don't know if I'm mentioning this or if any of y'all have noticed that Morocco is they're not the small team anymore as they were in 2022. We all thought that they would not make it further, but they actually are a pretty decent team. Think of it as like Colombia, for example. Colombia they're also a pretty good team. You all seen them in the World Cups, like over the years. Like the 1994 World Cup is not to be talked about, but overall the other World Cups they had in the at least in the 1990s. And then you have the 2014 World Cup where Colombia had a really great run with great players, and they could have had some more. And they still do have James Rodriguez on the team. And yeah, they have Luis Diaz. But still more stars. Anyways, getting a little sidetracked here. So with Morocco going through, winning the 3-2 in the penalties, they're the ones who are going through to the next round to face Canada. So, the first round of the knockout group stage of the next knockout of the round of 16. Gotta remember, round of 16, not group stage. That's not that anymore. That was then, and this is now. Still gotta get used to that. Alright, moving on to the next team, we have Germany and Paraguay. Oh my god, man. I'm embarrassed. I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to support Germany at this point or if I did. I honestly thought that Germany would mop the floor off with Paraguay. They had so many more shots, but I gotta ask you, how the fuck did you guys lose? Not to mention that disallowed goal for the header from Ta. The nice header though, but apparently there was a push and a foul from the penalty box, which cost which cost them their chance of winning. And then they went to penalties. First, you got Germany stepped up to miss the penalty first thing, and I'm like, okay, it's game over. And then as they move on to the match point sudden death, there were just so many misses there. First, you had Manuel Neuer, who had a really good save too, in one of the chances for Paraguay to go through, but they missed. And then Germany, I honestly thought they were going to finish the job until one person, Jonathan Tah, the man who scored but ended up being called off. No, it wasn't offside, but getting that foul, even though it wasn't him, the disallowed goal, misses the damn penalty as it flies right past the net. And then Paraguay ended up winning that match and securing a spot into the round of 16. So Paraguay can celebrate, but unfortunately they're not going to be celebrating anymore after what's going to happen next. And then we have France versus Sweden. So you had Canada with the 1-0 victory. You had the Netherlands and Morocco with a 1-1 victory with, 1-1 draw and 3-2 on penalties with Morocco going through. And then Germany and Paraguay tied at 1-1 with Paraguay having 4-3 on the penalties. Finally, you have France 3-0 against Sweden. Now, did Sweden really stand a chance? Personally, look, I'm only going to say this once. France's team is literally unstoppable. They got Kylian Mbappe. They got Ousmane Dembele. They got Michael Olise. They got Desiree Doué. That attack. And then you have the backups like Bradley Barcola, who also is pretty good as a backup sub. Like, all those players there are the ones who are just dominating the competition. Not to mention Michael Olise's attempted bicycle kick. That was really close too, so honestly thought he was going to get that. But, he did well. I kind of do like him a little bit, but like I said, France's team is just unstoppable, which now they will be facing Paraguay. So as I mentioned, Paraguay can celebrate, but looks like they're going to be celebrating no more. I was going to say something a little more extreme, but I might get canceled for it. Nothing against Paraguay, but I'm just saying, look at France. It seems like it's turned into more like a death sentence. But we all saw like how Paraguay upset Germany, so maybe there could be a surprise in the World Cup. Like, I kind of took the piss on Morocco because I thought Netherlands would win, but Morocco ended up winning. So, can Canada really beat Morocco? Who knows? There's only one way to find out, and it's gonna find out tomorrow, and then the rest of the other matches. And it turns out that Paraguay and France will be playing on the 4th of July, so 2 games, only one way to find out. Next up, we have Belgium and Senegal in the potentially most controversial way this could ever happen. Now, Senegal were winning 2-0 at the beginning of the first half. And then Belgium were just sucking. Sucking from the group stage, like barely keeping themselves alive until the last group stage they came first. And going up against Senegal, all it took is for them to wake up in the last second of the last minutes of the second half before boarding extra time. And then extra time came. Belgium just had to wait until the last minute. They were moments away from going to penalties until there was a controversial penalty, which you all say, is it a pen? Is it not a pen? I don't know. Tough to tell. But yeah, Yuri Tielemans steps up to score the winning goal for Belgium to secure themselves into the round of 16. Man, what a match that was. Unfortunately, I had to miss that game. I was elsewhere. I don't exactly know where I was at the time. But yeah, that was a pretty epic match. If you guys have seen the match, then you guys, I respect you all for that. Next up, we got USA and Bosnia. Now, this is a little bit of a heartbreaker here for Bosnia for making it this far. After Belgium having a 3-2 victory, we have USA who conceded no goals. They got themselves a clean sheet, a 2-0 victory against Bosnia. I'm gonna be honest, I never really wanted USA to win. I was hoping Bosnia would do it. They deserved it a little more, knowing how far they made it through their childhoods from the 1992 war and all the children who have lost their lives in that war. It is kind of heartbreaking too. So when you see that Bosnia were expected to go a little further, but their dreams were crushed by the Americans. So I would be mad. But anyways, moving on to the next round, it'll be USA versus Belgium. Will Belgium stop the Americans? Because there's only, so far, you have 3 hosts of the FIFA World Cup going through. They made it this far, so they're in the round of 16. Moving on to the next group. Okay, we're about halfway there through the end of this video here, and for the next couple rounds. So, starting off with Spain and Austria. Because I had to miss a few of the match because I was at work, I did manage to see the third goal. Or is it the second? Second or third goal. It doesn't matter. Spain really picked up the pace and they really turned things around, helping themselves to book a spot into the round of 16. Well, sorry to say for Austria though, kind of felt a little bad for them. I mean, they really tried. They tried their hardest. I would say their best match would have to be in the final group stage when they faced Algeria in that last minute goal to make it 3-3. Gotta admit, they did pretty well. But Spain was just too strong. And if Argentina doesn't win, then my next respect level will go to Spain to make it through. Alright, here we are. But before I get to that next group, we're going to go on to the other groups that were played before. Which I don't know why it's out of order. Not in the correct way. Before I get to Portugal and Croatia, I'm going to move on to Brazil and Japan. Now Brazil, they once again barely survived that group. They beat Japan. I honestly thought they were going to win 4-1. This was going to be all 4-1 deja vu from last World Cup against South Korea. But what the fuck is wrong with Brazil right now? This is not the Brazil that we all expected to go through, and if they keep playing like this, they're gonna get thrashed really badly. If they want to be serious, they should really pick up the fucking pieces and get their asses going. I'm not saying I have no hate for Brazil. I'm just saying they need to pick it up, and they are a 5-time World Cup championship. They are the rulers of the World Cup, not to mention Pele winning 3 World Cups in the 1960s, in those dinosaur years, which none of you weren't even alive. Neither was I or anyone else. But at least we got to see the clips and on the old World Cup matches of who won through the histories. But now this is the time to actually step up. They're through to the round of 16, barely surviving. They should have got a little further, but they were lucky to make it through. Goals from Casemiro and Gabriel Martinelli's last-minute goal. They did it. But they really, really need to start smarting the fuck up right now. Next up, we got Norway and Ivory Coast there. Even though Brazil won 2-1, now we have Norway beating Coast Ivory 2-1. Now, a lot of people say that Ivory Coast was going to go through. They were a little tougher. I mean, I was going to put a little bit of my money on Norway. I think that Norway is a pretty decent team. Their full team, they're pretty good at their chemistry, and they really came a long way after not qualifying since 1994, and now that they have made it through the World Cup qualifiers in the 2026, 32 years later. They are now in the round of 32, and now they move on to the round of 16 to face off against Brazil. So, who will you guys back up on this one? There's only one way to find out, to see who goes. Next up, we have Mexico and Ecuador. Yeah, this one kind of hurt a bit. Well, I don't really know what to say. So, Mexico, they haven't conceded a goal yet. And they've been winning consecutively, 4 consecutive games. No goal has been scored on them, which I have to say, I'm pretty impressed of how well they're playing. They keep up like this, they may just make it a little further. My suggestion, maybe they'll make it to the quarterfinals, maybe not, depending how well they play. 2-0. And then Ecuador, well, you all remember the whole covering your mouth situation. Yeah, even they got VAR on that, and they caught that one guy. I keep forgetting what his first name is, but I only got Hincape is the only name I could say. The Arsenal left back, and y'all saw that one meme, which I'm not going to really talk about because it's a little embarrassing. Covered his mouth, got himself sent off, especially on camera. And did you see that one Mexican guy the fact that he's telling the ref that, hey, he did this, like, that's like tattling on your own sibling for doing something very petty. I think that's kind of stupid, petty, childish there. Other than that, Ecuador ended up playing with 10 men, despite that they already lost. Kind of felt bad. Even though Mexico was a little too strong, they only got the 2 goals in the first half. But other than that, they have made their way through to the next round of 16. Next up, we got England versus Congo. Congo were only a few minutes away from winning that match, until it all came down to Harry Kane to step up and score. Now, he has already got himself 5 goals in the World Cup so far. So, the race for the Golden Boot is on. You got quite a close battle here. You've got Erling Haaland, you got Kylian Mbappe, and you got Lionel Messi. All those players that are fighting for that Golden Boot. Like, it is a tight foot race to find out who's going to make it through and who's going to get the most goals. But this World Cup probably has been like a surprise for all of them. Like, you got hat-tricks. Hat-tricks from Canadian player Jonathan David, France's Ousmane Dembele. Okay, not Kylian Mbappe yet, but he did have a hat-trick in the World Cup final, and yeah, he lost. And then you have Messi as well, who got a World Cup hat-trick for Argentina. There's every surprises here that is going on in this World Cup. What more could you want? So yeah, England 1-1. They're through to the next round. They will be playing against Mexico, which is gonna be. Could this be England's toughest opponent at this year's World Cup? And can they actually score against them is the question, though. There's only one way to find out. Alright, the moment you've all been waiting for. Portugal versus Croatia, one of the most controversial World Cup matches. And I have got to say, after I saw the game yesterday, I think it was, yesterday, in Toronto, everything, like, the streets were full, like, fans everywhere. Portugal and Croatia, probably one of the most intense matches in Toronto, in Canada. That is probably the last time you'll ever see those 2 legends play. 2 former Real Madrid legends. You have Cristiano Ronaldo and Luka Modric. The last time they will ever play in the country that is rarely known to be played at. In Canada, Toronto. To anyone who's Canadian, and all you Canadian fans, depending if you like Portugal or Croatia, there's your chance, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure it must have been a very packed stadium. Well, there was so many close calls. First half didn't really feel like a match. There was nothing. Just nothing. Except for the fact with Cristiano Ronaldo's free kick failed, but ended up hitting that guy's crotch. And it was safe to say that guy is probably not gonna have any kids after that. That's gotta hurt. So everybody knows that pain, especially the men right there. So on to the second half. Second half is where it really starts to kick in. Having Perisic, who scores the first goal, very good start. It was a great finish too, giving Croatia the first and goal to start things off. However, then you have Ronaldo. Who would have thought he was going to score a good goal as he does his infamous Sui celebration, only to find out he was ruled offside. Okay, it is kind of funny though at the beginning though. But then, because Ronaldo had not scored a knockout goal, guess what happens later on? So you all have seen it. A penalty comes in, and guess who steps up and scores the goal? His first official World Cup knockout goal was a penalty. A lot of people complain about that, but you all complain when it's Messi. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, like if it's complaining that Ronaldo gets his first knockout goal, if it's a penalty, like, I don't care. Like, he got the goal, okay, congrats. Actually, fuck you, but congrats, so. Yeah, he finally got his goal. Personally, I think that his other first goal that could have like stood and given, then yeah, I probably would have given that round of applause though, if it wasn't offside. And then Croatia had another chance to score. They could have put themselves at the 2-1 lead, but they were also caught offside yet again. I think that must have been a total like 3 disallowed goals in an offside position. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of editing on that later. This is the part where everyone got mad. Cristiano Ronaldo gets subbed off. Oh, I was like, oh yeah, Ronaldo fans are gonna be pissed, especially Portuguese fans, taking him off. However, they got this Gonçalo Ramos, who goes in for Portugal from the bench, and he ends up scoring the header to secure the spot after adding 10 minutes of added time. Yeah, the celebration takes about like what, 2-3 minutes at least. I would say it would take like a minute and a half. So at this point I was like 10 minutes, okay, so he's not gonna pull the whistle yet. When he reached 11 and a half minutes to 12, I was like, okay, this is the part where they should just blow the whistle. But it didn't take long for Croatia to get another opportunity. They go for a corner, well, before the corner, a free kick. And we all thought that Croatia was gonna get a goal to tie the game to board extra time. But it took 3 minutes later to find out that the goal was disallowed and called offside. And that's where everything got controversial. I was just screaming, just blow the whistle, like straight up. And then when it turned out 18 minutes and 50 seconds later, the ref finally blew the whistle, almost 19 minutes. Probably the longest added minutes I have ever seen in football history. That's like basically the entirety of the full 120 minutes and not even extra time. Can you imagine if Croatia tied that game with that full, at least almost up to 20 minutes of extra time extended after they said 10 minutes? Could you imagine that could be the largest amount of added minutes extra to be added on before the ref blows the whistle? Yeah, so it is heartbreak for Croatia and heartbreak for Luka Modric because he is out. Although some of them are also focused on Ronaldo, that he goes through. But it's not going to end there because Portugal will now have to go up against Spain. Is this the revenge that Spain has been waiting for? They lost to Portugal in the Nations League. Can they get their revenge? That's the only other team that I need that has got to win it. It's on the line, so it's not really, I don't have a betting just yet. I do have Argentina and Spain on the line, so it's only one way to find out until one of my teams gets knocked out, even though I'm not a Spanish or Argentina, like I'm born there, but I wish I was. But anyways, we are now moving on to the next remaining teams. We're almost there. And oh boy, I can't take this much longer. As we move on to the final rounds of the teams here. So, We have now moved on to Switzerland and Algeria. Now, I'll be honest, I kind of wanted Algeria to win. I honestly thought they would have had a chance, but Switzerland was a little too strong. So they did win that match. Unfortunately, first goal in the first half, it's alright. But the second goal in the second half, pretty good. Kind of sad that Algeria didn't make it like all the way to that further for themselves. They've tried, but they just couldn't get the job done. Yeah, it's gotta be tough though. Now we have Australia versus Egypt here. So, been a tough fight between those two teams, Egypt and Australia. Unfortunately, I did not see the game because I was at work at that time, so I had to miss that game. They went to penalties, even though Switzerland won 2-0 that time against Algeria. And there you have Portugal winning 2-1. And now you have, once again, another draw, 1-1. But only penalties this time as Egypt wins 4. Just give me a second, I don't know if I can read that. 4-2 on penalties, yeah. I don't have my glasses on, so that's why I'm a little, like, blindish, even though I'm doing this recording. So, Egypt will now make their way through to the round of 16. A little heartbreak for Australia and Algeria as well. So, Switzerland make their way through. Alright, here we are. I need a moment for this because today at that moment I watched Argentina versus Capo Verde. First off, I want to give my respects to Capo Verde for what a fight they have put up there. They've given all their hard work from a small country to becoming a hero in that World Cup season in the round of 32. I kind of doubted them. I did say that they were going to get eliminated from the group stage, and boy was I wrong. Spain and Capo Verde going through. Capo Verde's probably have one of the best runs in their tournament, tying in every game, securing 3 points. Unfortunately, only to go up against Argentina. I'm going to get this out of the way. Argentina, they did not play the way that they should have. I mean, the first half they did okay. Messi got the goal, so at least he got one. I'm happy. So I can still sleep nice after Messi got the goal. The great ball from Lisandro Martinez. And then the touch on Messi and the finish. I don't think keeper was stopping that. He just went, because he was not ready for that one. It's a great finish too. However, for Capo Verde, in the second half, they finally got the goal. But man, they were attacking like every moment they got. Argentina kept playing too much of the passing ball like back. I know they're trying to help Messi get the goal, and every 4 free kicks I have seen that Messi has taken, and the keeper, like holy fuck man, the keeper is just unstoppable. Like how did he do that? Especially for a 40-year-old keeper. I have got to say, my hat's off to you, sir. I did forget his name. I think it's like, yeah, I'll get back to that in a sec. So I didn't really get much of the keeper's name for the Capo Verde, but he was definitely a part of the key player for them. Really saved them, really put up a fight, and then after moving on to the extra time, Lisandro Martinez gets a goal. Very, very close. At least I was like, okay, so hold on to the lead. I hope they got it. It didn't take long for this Capo Verde player. I don't remember his name who got the goal. But this guy, he sent the one Argentinian player to the other side, and he curved that shit, pocketed to the end. I don't think Dibu Martinez had a chance to stop that. It goes, curves it in, corner pocket. That's a great goal. Respect, though. I mean, I don't hate Capo Verde. I mean, I think that they really had a great run. All it took was Messi's corner and Christian Romero to get that header and to secure their spot into the next round. It is kind of heartbreak for Capo Verde for making this far, and they will not be forgotten for their hard work and how far they have made it. So I hope that if this ever happens in their next upcoming World Cup, which will be in the next 4 years, they can make something out of it. No hard feelings, but you will be missed. Argentina, they have barely survived. Like, probably one of the worst matches Argentina has played so far in this tournament. Like, if they really want to actually start acting like champions and winning like champions, they need to step the fuck up. I know Messi is their main key player to keep it going. He can't always do this on his own. But the team knows how to play well. They got to start attacking. And if they can play this against Egypt and step up, I hope that for sure that Argentina can continue the journey and keep going. They're still in the game. They can still win it. All down to this. All for Messi and Argentina. They can do this. And I hope they do. Alright, moving on to the last game I watched not too long ago. Colombia versus Ghana. So Colombia only had just a 1-0. Yeah, once again, with Argentina and Cape Verde with a 3-2 was probably one of the last highest, I think the last of the highest like goals they've all scored altogether. And then you have Colombia and Ghana to finish it up with a 1-0. So Ghana turned out to be a little physical like battle there. Hard time shooting, getting it in the target and all that. Colombia, they've known to have some pretty physicality on them, which we won't talk about in the 2014 World Cup. Now, if Colombia continues this and they can actually make it a little further, their next competition will be against Switzerland. That should be a pretty decent game to go and watch to find out how well they do there and who do I think will go through. So, now that we've made it that far, it is time we move on to the round of 16 predictions here. So there you have it, folks. You have the round of 16 all set to go. Games are coming up. They're basically almost World Cup days almost every day. Coming up until the 19th will be the finals to determine who will be this World Cup champion. You have Canada versus Morocco. Now, that should be a pretty decent match there. If Canada can become the underdogs, this could be a record breaking for them to making it this far. Now, knowing Morocco there, they're not going to go easy on them. They are going to be a lot tougher because they're not no small team anymore. As I mentioned, they could actually pull up a surprise. So my prediction here, it's going to be a tough fight, but if Morocco actually beats Canada, so then it'll probably be another deja vu for who they go up against. But Canada are the underdogs. Tough to tell. You guys put it in the comments to see who will actually go through between Canada and Morocco. They have played in the group stage, but will there be a change? Now we have France and Paraguay here. So as much as I was hoping Germany would make it through, that would have been a little bit of a better fight, but personally France would still make it through in my opinion. So France will probably be the one and only team I would say they would go through. Next up you have USA and Belgium here. If Belgium can actually step up their game and get their shit together, I would say Belgium can make their way through to the quarterfinals. And then you have Portugal and Spain. You guys decide. I've got my own team that I'm going for, so I'm just hoping that Spain wins that match. But if Portugal somehow manages to pull off their hard-working comeback on that hard group path, maybe there's a possibility there will be a Portugal versus Argentina in the finals, which will explode the entire internet industry and games. Like, they'll cancel everything just to watch that finals. But who knows? Anything is possible, but I still will go for Spain. Next up, we have Brazil and Norway here. Now, the reason why I'm saying Spain would probably go, let's not forget the time they met up in the 2010 World Cup. Spain has been playing, having a calm style of play and then attacking when they can. So it's only right that they can pull something off. And then Portugal, with their attacking like how they did in the last match, they might board themselves to extra time and maybe penalties to be determined. And then Brazil and Norway, if Brazil actually plays a lot more serious and they actually get their shit together, I would say they would go through. Nothing against Norway, but it could be another close battle, and maybe through extra time. Next up, we have Mexico and England here. So once again, Mexico, pretty tough opponent so far this year in the World Cup, and they have not been conceded, not quite yet. But can England break that curse and can actually make it through? There's a chance, because England looks a little strong, but how far can their confidence keep up if they can win? So one way to find out. Moving on to the next final groups of the predictions. Moving on to the last final teams here. Switzerland, Colombia. It is probably going to be another epic battle here between Switzerland and Colombia. That could probably lead to extra time and penalties, is probably my prediction. So, you got two physical teams. One's a powerhouse, like pretty good attackers, and then you got a physicality team here. Colombia won't go so easy, but will this be a surprise there? A European versus a South American team. Let's find out. And lastly, Argentina versus Egypt here. So, as I mentioned, if Argentina does not play the way that they're supposed to, if they play too much defensively, this could be the end. But after that lesson they learned against Capo Verde, they can actually pull this off and make their way through. It's not over for them yet. Nothing against Egypt, like they're a pretty decent team, but I think their run has come to an end. So Argentina, it's all or nothing. They must be serious. Learn the lesson the hard way against Capo Verde. Maybe they'll learn their mistake, but there's only one way to find out. Anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you do, drop a like, subscribe to my channel for more videos. Yeah, there's still some more that I have to upload and get more. So, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. More and more videos will be coming up shortly. I know I still gotta get to FIFA 26 eventually, and then get more of my uploads of my football videos. So, I will see you guys next time. Adios, buenas noches, good night.